Have you ever wanted to die from cuteness? Much like a brand new baby kitten, that's exactly what will happen if you play Nintendo's newest release, Kirby's Epic Yarn. It's been a long time since Kirby has graced a home Nintendo console. You have to go all the way back to the year 2000 and the release of Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, to get Kirby's previous console outing. The wait was well worth it, though. Kirby's Epic Yarn takes everything you want from a Nintendo platformer and wraps it inside a bundle of saccharine sweetness. Kirby, the ever-childlike pink ball, is wandering around one day when he happens upon a Metamato just laying on the ground. Kirby decides, as he normally would, that the best course of action would be to eat the food in front of him. When he does, he's sucked into a magic sock owned by the evil wizard Yin Yarn. Kirby soon realizes something isn't quite right and everything is different than what he remembered. There are creatures made of yarn running around, and the world feels like pants. Kirby soon meets the prince of this mysterious new land, whose name is Prince Fluff. He's told that Yin Yarn has stolen the magical thread that holds the pieces of Patchland together and decides to help his new friend. All of these story elements are told through a storybook with a narrator that sounds like he's straight from the set of Reading Rainbow. While the story's silly and nonsensical, you don't really care because you're so enamored by the whole thing. Things are a bit different this time around, though. Kirby no longer has the ability to inhale enemies and steal their powers because he has no body. He and everything in the world are made of materials that you would expect to find inside a child's craft box. Buildings are made of felt, objects are held together with buttons and zippers, and it's these materials that make this such an interesting and different style of game. The new visual style is dripping with charm, fun, and is quite beautiful to look at. It rivals anything that you've ever seen on the Wii to date, and would be great to look at no matter what platform the game appeared on. Nintendo really knocked it out of the park with this visual style. Kids will love the bright colors and maybe even be inspired to run to their own craft boxes and build their own versions of these levels at their homes. Kirby will use his new abilities, like being able to create a whip of yarn to wrap enemies up into balls that can be used as projectile weapons. He can swing on buttons to reach higher platforms, and if the path is blocked, check to see if there's a zipper or a pull tab. Pulling these will reveal new, previously hidden areas. Kirby also has the ability to transform himself. A quick double tap of the D-pad and Kirby transforms into a car that zooms along at a very fast pace through the world. There are preset areas where Kirby will transform into a giant tank, or an off-road racer, or a tunneling machine. These areas add new twists to an already completely new gameplay style. Platforming sections in the game are broken up by a number of different mechanics, so you're always doing something new. In one level, you'll be playing through a traditional Kirby section, and then in the next, you'll be traveling along keyboards and swinging across harps collecting music notes. It means the action never gets old because you're doing the same thing over and over. You're always doing something new. Kirby games have never been hard. They're designed to be accessible by anyone, and that might turn off some gamers who are looking for over-the-top difficulty. I love this game because it's a more laid-back experience. You're not going to die. If Kirby takes any damage, gets squashed by spiked balls, or falls into a pit, you're simply returned to a few seconds before and you try again. All of your success in the game is based on finding all of the hidden treasures in the levels and obtaining as many beads as you can, not by getting through the levels without dying. There's even a 2-player co-op mode for anyone that has a second player around. It's the perfect type of game to get mom and dad or your kids to play with you. The difficulty means no one's going to get frustrated because they're dying repeatedly. The 2-player mode does become frustrating when you're trying to jump over or capture enemies and the other player grabs you instead, and it will happen a lot. It's very easy to do, but good co-op partners will also find many of the treasures much easier to obtain with a partner. There's even an ability similar to the bubble in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, where if you find yourself falling behind, simply press the A button and you'll be transported towards your partner by a floating angel. There's absolutely no reason that anyone should pass on Kirby's Epic Yarn. The story is one that young kids will want to hear told over and over again. Kirby fans will be wrapped up in his new abilities, and you won't even remember that Kirby was done in any other way. The platforming is almost perfect. The pacing is as good as it ever gets, and it's just good to have Kirby back on a console. Nintendo took a bit of a chance on the super tough Pink Puff, but there's absolutely nothing bad that can be said about the experience. For a full written review, check out Nintendo-Okie.com.
Meanwhile, back in Dreamland, the Waddle Dees were very busy inside Castle DDD. Let's go.